All right, guys. So today we are going to be looking at statistics. It is one of those topics that are frequently tested on both on the multiple choice and on the paper too. So it's a topic that I am encouraging you guys to spend a number of time practicing the questions and reviewing the notes so that you can apply yourself when it comes on to any of the questions. All right. Now, before I jump into the definition, can anybody come up with their own definition and tell me what they think statistics is? Starting with Ms. Tulloch. What do you think statistics is all about, Ms. Tulloch? I guess that's a no response. Is it that you don't have anything to say, Mr. Locke, or you're not there at the moment? All right, Miss Cavero.
Oh. Sir, I think it's the branch of maths that basically deals with like you have a question, but there could be a bunch of answers. I don't know.
All right. Thanks for your input, Ms. Cavera. I'm a little bit hoarse, so please bear with me. Mr. Paisley, tell me what you think.
The recording of information, sir.
All right, it's a recording of information. And the body has, let me find out from Ms. Clark. What do you think, Ms. Clark?
Sir, I'm thinking it's I think it's like gathering information and trying, and it's a way of presenting information, sir.
Okay, all right. Thanks much for your input, Ms. Clark. Mr. Ojeno, can you give me your input on what you think statistic is all about?
Sir, like to analyze data.
All right. Analyze data, that's one aspect of it. Ms. Waysome, are you there? Want to share your input?
Collection of data, sir.
All right, so everybody just have some little bits and pieces of what the true definition is. Now, let me see the hands of those who would have gone ahead and read up on the topic or at least watch a video on it. Let me see the hands of those who would have done that. All right, Ms. Cabero. Now, guys, I'm still encouraging you that try to at least prepare for the class, because when you do that, you get a lot more from the class. As a matter of fact, you'll be able to maximize your understanding and learning when you prepare for the class. Or you should get a way lot more than when you come unprepared. All right, so guys, I'm encouraging you once more that for each class, try to at least read something or watch the video that are already on the website. I know you may not be able to sit and watch all of them, but at least watch one or so. All right, so statistics in general, it is a science of collecting and analyze data and facts. Now, in addition to collecting and analyzing data, it is also about organizing the data, interpreting the data, and presenting the data. So all of those are aspects of statistics. Now, when we talk about data though, what comes to your mind? If we're collecting and analyzing data, what would you say data is? Ms. Wason.
Information, sir.
Well, actually, it's not really information when we refer to it as data.
So is it like numbering at numerical data, like have to do with numbers or anything like that?
Well, some data can come in different forms. Some data can be quantitative, some data can be qualitative. So it doesn't have to be in the form of numbers, it can be in the form of description of something. But data, when we talk about data, sometimes often referred to as raw data, it really means that you're collecting disorganized, unsorted, I don't want to say information, but it's a collection of unsorted or disorganized facts. Now, when you actually organize them into some form that you can analyze and interpret, that's when it becomes information, because the information is really what you get from analyzing it, right? So when you collect it as it is, it's not really an information. It's just collection of data. Would just be anything that you collected in relation to something that you're studying. All right. So I hope you get a clear understanding of that. All right, so collecting and analyzing data is useful when drawing conclusions or making decisions. Now, so that would have speak a lot to why we really collect data, because there are some things or some variables that are in existence in our environment, or some data that are existing in our environment that we really don't know what is going on with the data until when we collect them and analyze them. All right, and there are many different things that we can collect data about, right? As anything that you can think of as a variable, and a variable, as the word variable come from various, and you know that we have various things in our world. So we can collect data on anything that we decide that we're going to study. And so we are doing this with the sole purpose of getting information and making decisions, because if we don't collect the data and analyze it, making decision for us can be challenging when it comes down to some things. All right, now it generally surrounds the study of some population. So in a sense, statistics can also be thought of as studying samples of population, right? And sometimes we study the population to find out a number of things. Like, for instance, in politics, sometimes they will try to find out from the people which party they are in favor of. And by collecting the data, then you can see what portion of the population is in favor for one party or the other. And sometimes that also help to indicate to the political leaders which direction the people are going in terms of who may probably win the election or so on. All right, so apart from that, you know, in the medical field, you may want to collect data, just like what happened the other day with the COVID. We would like to know how many cases of COVID and where they are and so on. So, you know, the data is important. So sometimes the data collected from the hospitals are tallied and, you know, you couldn't give a sense of what is going on in the population as it regards to COVID. Now, so that those are just some of the examples. There are many different applications for statistics. All right. Now it is a branch of math, and it is more of a what you call now. It is more of a kind of math that helps you to find out something that you don't know about some aspect of some population. All right. So statistics is used to analyze data obtained from sources such as experiments and survey. Now, most of you, when you would have done your SBs, you would have gone out to collect some data. So, and I must say data is plural and datum is singular. And the data that you would have collected, you would have plotted graphs and charts and so on, and those would be ways of representing the data. And so we generally are often, we use some graphical means to show the data, all right? Now, so data presentation, as I would have mentioned, it would be done graphically, all right, using charts. Now, when we say graphically, anybody can tell me what we mean by representing the data graphically? Mr. Arjeno?
Sir, I mean like use graph.
All right.
Using
All right. So you can use a graph, but graph in its sense would be really a picture. All right. And so when we talk about graphically, we're really referring to in some pictorial sense. Yes, we have line graphs and bar graphs and so on, but they are really representing pictures of how the data is relating, right? Sometimes you may put it on in terms of axis of reference, a y-axis and an x-axis, and then now you see how one variable on the x is relating to one variable on the y and so on. Now, when we plot graph, it aids us in getting a picture of how the data is relating to each other in terms of their variables. Now, as the saying goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Now, and that's the main reason why we use graphs or bar charts or different charts, because the moment you look at a chart or a graph or a pie chart, you can easily, without thinking about any calculation or anything, you can easily have a sense of what portion of the data is smaller and what portion is larger based on just looking at the graph. So you don't really need to have any special skills to be able to look at the graph and make comparison with the data based on the different portions. So that's why we generally create graphs or charts when we're dealing with statistics. All right, so there are a number of charts that are commonly used. we're just going to be dealing with about, not all of them, but just a few of them we're going to look at, such as the pie chart and the proportional bar chart, the simple bar chart, chronological bar chart, and the histogram. These are all charts that are used to represent data. All right. So when we are presenting the data, generally, first we would have to put the data in some form of table. And from the table, we generally construct these charts. All right. Now, pie chart, as the name suggests, pie, as you would know, would be a circular object. All right, so when we talk about the pie, we're not talking about the number pi now, but we are talking about pie that you eat. It is circular. So this chart that we're referring to is a circular chart. So it is generally represented with a circle, which is cut up in various sectors, or sector angles, or sector areas, right? So a pie chart is a chart that displays the portion of the whole data as sector angles or sector areas. Now, it is important to note the difference in sector angles and sector areas, because when you hear the word angle, you should have a sense of what that means. And when you hear the word area, you should also know what that means. And the other word here that you probably should know is sector. Can anybody tell me what a sector is? Ms. Stoller.
Yes, sir.
What is a sector, please?
Okay. A sector, I think it would be a part of something, sir, an area of something.
Not, well, it's a part of a circle, but it is cut in a special way, and that's why it is referred to as a sector. Can you tell me all right, let me ask Miss Green, since she's just coming. Miss Green.
The covering section.
Miss Green, are you there?
Yes.
Do you know what a sector is?
Sir, only can say there is a part of a group or something or a part of something. Sir. I'm not
Okay.
sure of the exact.
Remember, we're talking about a pie chart here now as a circular chart. I'm sure that a lot of you, when it comes Christmas time, you get your cake, or you get your, when it's wedding time, you have these nice, lovely cake. How we generally slice the cake? Miss Wisdom, tell us how we slice cake.
Repeat, sir.
How do we generally slice a cake?
In portions, sir.
If you were to slice a cake, how would you slice it?
In sectors.
All right. So if you're slicing out the cake, you would slice it from the middle, kind of like a V-shaped thing, like, right? Like when you would be cutting cheese in that kind of V-shape. That's what we're referring to as a sector. So a sector of a circle is a part of a circle sliced out from the middle, right? Kind of different from a segment, which is only cut across by a cord. So a sector is usually, well, often it is sliced from the middle of the circle. All right. So a circle represents the total data. And I want you to pay attention to when we use these words like represent and think carefully what that means. So if a circle represents the total data, anybody can tell me what you think that means when we say represent. Miss Caver, let me ask Miss Clark. Miss Clark, what do we mean by a circle represents the total data?
So I'm not sure how to word it.
Okay. Anybody would like to try? Raise your hand and then go ahead. Go ahead, Ms. Cabrera.
Basically, a circle representing all the information. So, for example, like you have the circle, and if the circle represents the, what do you call it, the class, and then I don't really know how to explain it, but it represents the information.
All right. Good attempt. Anybody else would like to add anything else to what Ms. Cabrera is saying? All right. So when you represent something by a shape, you can, if you're thinking of a whole, and we say we're using a circle to represent a whole, we're saying that the entire circle consists of all the data. That's what we're saying, you know. So that when you see the entire circle is a representation of all the data. Now, if you cut up that circle into various portions, then each portion would be a portion of the data. All right, guys, so that's what we're really saying. So by saying that the circle is the whole data, then portions of the data would be cut up or sliced out from the middle in what we call sectors. And we can use the angles of these sectors to tell you the size of the data, or we can use the area of these sectors to tell you the data. So in the same breath, the angles are representing the portion of the data of that sector, or the area of the sector is represent the portion of the data of that sector. Let me see your hands if you are clear on what I'm saying, guys. I'm not seeing any hand. Does that mean nobody understood what I'm saying?
So I think I understand, but I would like you to repeat one more time.
All right, never mind. I will be using a diagram to show you in a short while. All right. Now we say that the pie chart is a chart that displays portion of the data as a whole, as sector angles or sector areas. Now we say that the sectors represent the various portion of the data. Now, if we were to represent this information on a on a pie chart, we first have to put them in a table, and the table here